Hey everybody, it's your old pal Andy here at the Flat Thunder channel. Today we're working out in the lovely rain and we're trenching a little bit by hand, and I am extremely winded. It just goes to show your old pal Andy needs to get back in and do some cardio, because this short trench, it didn't take a whole lot of time, maybe an hour, but man, did it really whoop me. And we got another trench to dig. What we're doing today is we're gonna run power from the garage to this shed, which you saw me place. I'll put a link down in the description. We moved this last year into this position. It was behind us over there, 90 degrees from its current position. So we need to feed power to this. And also behind you, we also need to feed power to the Playhouse that we positioned and delivered last year. Also a link down in the description. Here's our trench, and as you can see, there's already some stub-in PVC conduit in the floor on the interior of the garage. That's a great idea. That was Dad's idea. So if you ever need to run utilities in, you don't have to punch a hole in the side of your garage and put a coupling or anything. You can just dig up that stub in and connect right there. To the right of it, I believe that's my gas line and my water line, or vice versa. Pre-dug trench. We're gonna go down there and go in the floor of the yard barn right there. Go up behind that outlet. Inside the garage here, there's the gas line, there's the water line, and then also the door opener line and a network cable that goes through that gas line pipe. So we have these two extra ones here. They're just taped off to keep stuff from falling in there and getting them all dirty, like concrete when they poured the floor. This is one of the cleanest ways to do this, again, so you don't have to punch a hole in your wall. It just comes up right through the floor there. That ought to be more than enough. This old wire looks familiar. This is the wire that we pulled out of the ground when we replaced a 150-foot run and solid 2-inch conduit. Again, I'll leave that link to that down in the description if you're interested. It has a way bigger job than this. I have a ton of this 3/4 inch PVC here just laying around. I'm never going to use it. This wire is UFB 10 gauge 2 with a ground direct burial wire. And now if you wipe the mud off of it, because I just got it dirty, the insulation on this looks beautiful, and this was in the ground since the 90s, so this is a really good stuff. I'm only putting it in conduit to keep it from getting pierced by accident, say by a shovel or someone digging a hole. At least you'll know you hit something before you punch into your main power wire. So in that last job I just mentioned, this stuff is extremely hard to pull through conduit, at least for me it is. And in that 2-inch conduit is actually relatively difficult as well, doing it one-manned. So when I did that, I would snake the conduit on one piece at a time. I stretched the wire out, and that worked really good. I'm gonna try to do the same thing here. And it should get us where we need to be. If I can find my pulling lube, I'll put that on there too. Got the end here with just the long sweeping elbow. I'm going to extend this up just a little bit so it's actually in the pipe more. I'm not going to glue it to the 2-inch pipe, I'm just going to put it inside of it. Well, this is one of the best parts about working outside in the mud. Yeah, I didn't get the cutter out of the basement, so I got to scrape all that crap off and try to get in the basement to get the cutter to cut the pipe. Didn't think that one through. Nothing like trenching in the rain. She's starting to fill with water. Ew. Got my pulling lube. If you've never used this stuff is amazing. Makes a huge difference. I used to try to use Murphy's oil soap or some other stuff, but this is the stuff. Use this. Drilling the hole here with the old DeWalt drill and my Rigid brand hole saw kit. It's an 1.5-inch hole, and what's surprising is I actually had to start where the existing hole was. It's quite a bit smaller, and it drilled, which blew my mind. I cracked this a little bit, but it drilled it, no problem. And much to my surprise, when I was cleaning out all the bits and pieces from the first hole, and it drilled through this number 9 screw diagonal, and I didn't even know it hit it until I took it out of the hole saw. So that's one heck of a good hole saw. I probably messed up some of the teeth, but we're going to see if it drills again. As I said, there's the first hole. We're going to feed the line that we just ran from the garage in there. Then we need another line to go out to go to the other small shed over that way. Good news, I got the elbow and the short piece that we cut. They're not glued yet. That'll go in the hole we just drilled. If I can find it. Come on. There she is. So that'll go in the hole we just drilled. And I had to adjust the angle of the trench slightly to be more this way. And it looks like I originally intended on putting a coupling on this and adding more pipe. It looks like we have plenty of pipe here in the single piece. So we'll get this where it's happy and cut this pipe. I had to put a bushing in it for the size difference. We'll put that in there and cut this pipe so we can hook her up. It's working in the muds. Pretty fun. Not. So the downside to doing this way, you're going to get solvent on the insulation of your wire. So you want to try not to soak it, but I don't really know how to avoid it. I'm going to glue in this top part first because we're going to have to adjust the angle once we plug this in there as we shove it up the floor of the barn. Might have to do them both at the same time actually. Every time. That's the second time I spilled our old purple primer. Luckily, it's down in the hole. Man, I had to fight this thing to get it up in that hole. Project's getting way too fun. I don't know if you noticed, I had a little technical difficulty down there. The piece that I wanted to stay together first came apart. Luckily I was able to jam it back in. The grade of the trench was prohibiting the pipe from angling the way it needed to be. So I got it jammed back in, and as you saw, I covered it up a little bit to hold it while it dries. The only good thing about working when it's kind of on the cooler side is that glue has a much longer set time. Basically, I need to go from that corner over there to this corner up here. We're gonna go the shortest distance because, as I mentioned earlier, I need some more cardio. This is gonna be one heck of a workout for me here. So, gonna try to get in there, knock this out. Here she is. Isn't she a beaut? This was a lot easier because it didn't have that gravel on top, and the dirt kind of composted a little bit. Even though it's a lot of clay, it's not all hard pack. It's broke up a little bit here from the grass. Much like everything else today, my drill batteries are kind of getting a little old. Didn't really know it till today, but looks like I need to replace some of those with some newer ones. Serves me right for telling me in one of the previous week's videos that the batteries are really good. So some of them are crapping out. Got really close. I needed like this much more, and I didn't have the stroke on the drill, and the drill just didn't have the power. I couldn't hold it out far enough on the end of the hole saw here. So we splintered off a little piece. Don't know what we're gonna do now. I mean, it didn't destroy it, but I didn't like the splinter, so it's not huge, maybe like 3/16 of an inch thick or so. Anyways, here we go. Need to get this pipe in here and get this wire in so we can have power in both outbuildings. All right, just cut the last piece. Let's see if we can't get this thing in here. Oh, almost put it on the wrong way. All we need to do is get this all lined up here. Glue this guy in because we can rotate the whole top, and then we'll glue this guy down here last. That wire is wanting to kink on me and making it really tough. Ugh. This is 100% one of those nightmarish type of projects. Oh, when I got everything together, I am like, I can get that started on there, but I am like a half an inch too short, which, what a nightmare. So we're gonna get crazy. So check that out. I think we finally got that in there. Boy, did that fight me. But now look, the pipe's all humped up like it's too long. I think I just had some mismatch on the angle down there, and the wire in the pipe was fighting me. So we're gonna have to see. We'll let that dry, because this hump is kind of holding it in and loading it in, and then we'll see if I can't adjust the position of that end. Looks like that end came down a little bit. Adjust that back up where it goes into the building, and then get this back down where it needs to be. Getting to be that time of year where the dark ages sit in. I got a round junction box here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to bring both wires in to the junction box, and then I'm going to have another wire come out of it to feed the entire shed here. We got our 10 gauge wires here. We have the one that goes to the other shed here, and then the main feed coming in from the garage here, and then the 14 gauge wire that is from the outlet on that outside of the shed. All the wiring in the shed is 14 gauge, and it is fed from that outlet. That would be this wire right here. This is the new one that we put in. This is where it gets a little questionable. I definitely do not have wire nuts for wires of this gauge, not two 10 gauge anyways. And this is two 10 gauge and a 14 spliced together. So I don't know if you can see there, hopefully it's focusing. I spliced them together, or twisted them together really hard, and then, I don't know if it's focusing at all, and then soldered them. So we got a little hot on the side of the box with the soldering torch, but we did solder these together, so that's a nice big solid chunk. If I had time and the hardware store was open, I would opt for like split nut or half nuts to put on there. But this should be good. It's a solid slug of solder. Cover this up, go to the other Playhouse, and put in a junction box. This is just how sketchy this operation is. I got way more room over here than I did on the other one. Alright everybody, we're finally inside. We got the wire back at the fuse panel, and with the way things have been going today, I went ahead and killed this. You don't necessarily have to do that. The smart thing would be to do that, but you can hook up your grounds, leave your breaker disconnected, hook up your wire to your breaker, and then pop her in place. But you got to be really careful, and I've just been exceedingly clumsy today and things aren't working for me. So killed this. No power in here. This is my test light. If it lights up red, it means there's juice. We got nothing in here. So let's get to stripping this wire and hook it up and see if she works. Finally found my knife. I'm losing everything today. I got two knives out. Can't keep track of one hardly. Oh, the disadvantages of working through this UFB. Each wire is its own little wrap. This box is a little different. You have to take all the grounds and run them up to the top, and then your power legs obviously go to the bottom of the breakers down here. Now for some reason the screw is not in the bottom of that breaker. You got a completely different breaker, and it has the screw in the end. I don't understand. What's going on? It's a different series. This is the wrong breaker. It should have a 15 amp because everything is 14 gauge out in the shed. This is a 20 amp breaker. You're only supposed to use that on 12 gauge. Right now, we're just going to test it with this 20 amp, and we'll turn it off when we're done testing, and we'll get a new 15 amp breaker with this style. Let's throw the power. Hope she doesn't trip. That's a good sign. All right. Let's go out and see if the lights are on in the shed. All right. Let's give it a go. See what happens. All right. Let there be light. Yeah. That's awesome. The ceiling fan. See what she's gonna do. Oh yeah. Nice bright light. I can see how messy it is in here. All right, the old-timey light that Dad fashioned up. Looking pretty cool. We did it. Got this fuse box wired up. We got power to the shed and the playhouse. The playhouse is lit up really cool. It's got tons of lights in it. Everything works. It's awesome. All we need to do is change out this breaker when we can get to the parts store to pick up a 15 amp instead of a 20 amp. If you like this video, don't forget to give me a thumbs up. Leave your questions and comments in that section below, and don't forget to tickle that subscribe button on your way out. Thanks for watching, everyone.